I'm going to place one of these on every other chair, okay? So not everybody needs one because we're going to be sharing. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. I do have USB as well, so whatever's good.
If you're trying to get the, there we go. One of our
Perfect.
inputs are not working.
Oh, got it. This always happens. I have to slide it over. Screen there it is. And there we nope, I do not. This is perfect. Thank you, Nadine. And Monique wanted me to just give you a couple of my cards because I put up mobile physio and mobile massage services.
Okay.
So if any of your residents need it or inquire, I'd be happy to help.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm glad that you got a good turnout.
Thanks. Thanks for your help.
Some of our residents, if they wanted to come in as well and take a look at it. So
Yeah, that'd be fun. Thanks.
That's you?
That's not me, no. It's just a Google stock image.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But is it from your computer?
Yes, this is me. We're all good to go.
But how come it's not showing anything there?
Oh, because I have to just move my presentation over in order for the screens to pick it up. It's a weird thing.
Oh, okay.
But I figured it out.
Okay.
Okay.
As long as you have it down pat. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we're good to go. So I'm gonna have to start at 11 if that's
Yeah,
okay.
that's fine.
Okay, perfect. And I'll just close. Everyone has the band. Okay.
So far.
Okay.
Oh, you want everyone to have a band?
No, every other chair.
Every other chair. Yeah, that's
perfect.
What I didn't do the front. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
She wants to start at 11.
Okay. Hi, that's okay. Thank you for having me.
how about maybe, I think someone's already at the one. Oh, no, someone's out there. Yeah, go ahead.
Steal one of
Yeah, we can just set this out even over there.
No, let's take a small one. Let's take
Gary? You think, Mark? You think we're best to do that? We could just leave it here. Here, just leave it here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
If anybody wants this stuff.
Just grab some stuff away.
I wanted some.
Hi, good morning.
It's been a day.
Good morning. Good. I'm fine. Nice to meet you, Angela. Thanks for letting me share a presentation here. Are you ready to visit the house? I know it's a big day for you guys.
I know, right? That's what we do.
Okay. We actually were actually active within.
That's what we do. We do healthy. We like healthy.
Okay. They don't RSVP. It's like just random. Okay. Like okay.
Do you have everything?
Yep.
You're
I'm
good.
good to go. Yeah.
Sunrise?
Yeah. I know. I always get a little bit of anxiety, but as soon as I see that, I'm good.
I know.
Nothing else matters. I know. But I've been lucky.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy. I live next
Hope you
door.
have a successful day.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yep, no problem. I've got it. Let's chat afterwards then, Gary.
Okay. I'll probably shoot you a link after this because I provide in-home physio and in-home massage services.
Okay.
So in case any of your residents ever ask or need it,
Do you bring like a chair?
we bring tables, we bring acupuncture, we bring everything. So I could even set up a time to do a presentation for your residents with exercises, kind of to demo.
Cool.
I do
I
that
love
at
that.
senior homes
I
sometimes.
love that. Let's,
Okay,
yeah, definitely.
I'll
Let's
connect with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How are you? Good. Good. We're childhood friends.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me right now?
Awesome.
Oh,
Yes.
nice. It's a nice little.
Yes, yes.
That's amazing. From school?
Well, we went to two different schools, but
Yeah.
we knew each other's
Same
age.
age, like, yeah.
Same age, same whatever.
Same community, so.
Mississauga?
Mattavale.
Oh, I was close. I was Heartland. Like I went to Rickhanson.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like Terry Fox and.
Oh, yeah, I know it now.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And you need to start at a hard start
Yes.
at 11.
Is that good? If I think
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. We'll just leave the doors open and anybody can come for a bit. Right? Just in case. Just once.
Would you be able
I'm like the perfect storm this morning.
to video
Running
on
in
my
here,
phone
like everything
at
was
some
on
point during the presentation?
Okay. My mom's 15. My
Just
mom's
leave it with you then.
So, yeah. So,
You can also send me the link for this one.
Okay. Maybe what I'll do,
partly what
maybe
drove
just
me
do it at the
to-
beginning, right?
Yes. We're headed next Thursday. Can't wait. Yeah, I'll come back in. No, not to Dominican. My end.
I'm on the 20th.
Okay. We'll just close one.
Maybe one of each. Yeah, you can take both of them. Thank you. Awesome.
Thanks so much for coming.
Wait, since you guys are taking the list, Gary, can you take mine?
Oh. He's so funny.
Was tomorrow coming this morning?
No, that's right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Video?
Sure. Everyone else? Everyone
Okay,
can
you know
go.
what, people will probably just come in. We had about 17, 18 replies. So. Okay, awesome. Okay, well, thank you for attending, everybody. I'm really excited to bring the speaker towards our speaker series. Claudia actually is a physiotherapist, and she's registered physiotherapist with Get Right Physio, in which she actually owns. So she's been helping for over 13 years of experience in treating patients in home and in clinic settings. She prides herself on being an evidence-based and empathetic clinician who builds great rapport and trust with her clients. Claudia is also an assistant clinical professor with McMaster University, involved in admissions, examining, and teaching. She's obtained her master's degree in physiotherapy from McMaster University after completing an honors Bachelor's of Science degree with co-op kinesiology program of University of Waterloo. And outside of work, she enjoys traveling, working out, and spending time with her family, friends, and twin toddlers. My goodness, she is a busy woman. Well, with no further ado.
Thank you. Thanks, Stephanie. Thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate it. I'm really excited to share this content with you today. As Stephanie said, I am a registered physiotherapist, and I've been practicing for 13 and a half years, mainly in the Mississauga area, actually, in Streetsville. I was born and raised in Mississauga, so this is my stomping grounds. But today I'm going to be chatting with you a little bit about exercise as medicine. And for me, my desire and my dream would be that doctors would prescribe exercise more instead of medications. So we're going to touch a little bit on more of what does that mean when we talk about prescribing exercise. And we're going to specifically talk about evidence-based physiotherapy treatments for Parkinson's. And it's an interactive presentation, so we'll get you up on your feet. We'll practice a few things together today. So my hope is that you walk away, you learn something new, you have fun, and we have a good morning together. Before I get into the meat of it all, I would love to get to know a little bit more about you. So I have a few icebreaker questions. Firstly, you can just, by a show of hands, does anyone in this room have Parkinson's or know someone who has Parkinson's? You can put up our hands. Okay, thank you for sharing. If you have Parkinson's, how long have you had it for? You can shout out a number. 10 years? 15? 2 months. Okay, so a wide variety. And what are some of your major symptoms, if you don't mind sharing? A couple of symptoms that you might have. Handwriting is starting to be a little difficult. So it's distorted. It's hard to read it. Okay. Speech is also affected. Okay. Anything else?
Slowness and some cognitive function, the sore muscles.
Yep. Slowness, sore muscles.
Yeah, cramping in my feet and dystonia.
Yep, dystonia. Thank you for saying that. So dystonia is cramping, involuntary muscle contractions. Dyskinesia, yes. So discoordinated movements, inability coordinating our movements. Balance is affected. Thank you for saying that one. We're going to touch on balance today. Anybody else would like to share any of their symptoms? You don't have to. Tremor, yes, thank you. Yeah, we're going to touch on that as well. So as you can see, there's a wide variety of symptoms that someone can have if they have Parkinson's. And so we're going to touch a little bit on the physiotherapy that we can do to help those symptoms. Have any of you done any exercises, interventions to help with those symptoms? Yes? Put up our hand. Yes, okay. Has anyone done physiotherapy? Oh, 1, 2. Okay, what did that look like? What did it entail?
I'm stretching and things for all my joints that were aching at the time.
Okay, stretching.
Moves around different parts of my body.
Stretching, okay. Anything else? Exercises geared for Parkinson's. Perfect. Okay, so some of you have some experience with this area. So let's get a little bit more into it. Again, I'll just touch a little bit about me just so you know. So again, I'm a physiotherapist practicing for 13 years. And I teach at McMaster University. The reason I do that is because I like to stay up to date on the evidence. What is evidence? It is medical research. It is journal articles. It is telling us what way we should treat clients that is most effective. That's why I like to do that, because anyone can prescribe you a program, but how do we know if it's effective? So we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. I have a couple of specializations. After school, I went and specialized in acupuncture, pelvic floor physio, but the main one that's of interest to this population is a specialization called neurodevelopmental treatment. That is for anyone who might have had a neurological injury like Parkinson's, where we provide specific tactile cues to your body and to your muscles to help them function more optimally. All right, well, let's get into it. So what are the interventions that we're going to be talking about today? Here is a list of them, and you can see there's a wide variety from conventional physio, which someone in our audience mentioned, resistance or strength training, treadmill training, strategy training, dance, Nordic pole walking. Someone in the room has their poles here today. Thank you so much. We're going to talk about that. Balance, gait training, and martial arts, exergaming, hydrotherapy, and dual task training. So today we're going to get into each and every one of these in specific. We're going to talk about what are they, define them. Then we're going to look at what is the effectiveness in the medical research on each therapy. And then we're going to practice some of these things together. So I hope you're ready to get on your feet with me for a few minutes this morning. Before we get into the bread and butter of the presentation, I just want to add a little note so that everyone is on the same page. When I'm talking about evidence, what does that mean? Essentially, there are different types of research studies that can be conducted. For example, a case control study, or a randomized control study. So where you have a treatment group that gets a specific treatment and you have a control group where they don't have any treatment, and so you can see the difference in what happens to those two groups over time. Now, all of the research studies that are conducted are graded on this sort of hierarchy to see how effective was that research, how much rigor went behind that research. So today's presentation is based on a meta-analysis, which is the top level here. A meta-analysis is a systematic, it is a quantitative, it is a very specific type of research study that is done that provides a summary or a conclusion about a body of research, because the amount of rigor that was behind that study is very, very high. So that's what we're going to be learning today. Everything you're hearing today is up to date and very high evidence behind it. All right, so the first therapy today is conventional physiotherapy. So this is what you probably think of when anyone thinks about physiotherapy. You might imagine a clinic, you might imagine somebody going and doing exercises, as some of our audience members have said that they have done. So it's any and all active exercise, and it can be multifaceted. So they could give you some strengthening, and they could give you some acupuncture, or they could give you some balance training and some stretching perhaps. So the research today shows that conventional physiotherapy's effectiveness is very, very good. It has significantly improved gait. What is gait? Gait is the manner in which we walk, our pattern, our posture, our speed in which we walk, the rate in which we walk. And so when someone goes and does conventional physio, you can expect a significant improvement in their walking pattern, in their quality of life, and their motor symptoms. And the motor symptoms are some of the things that the gentlemen here have shared earlier today, which was tremors, rigidity, slowness of movement. Dyskinesia was one that our friend at the front said, dystonia, freezing, falls, dizziness, and muscle cramps. So all of those areas significantly improved. And when I say significantly, that means there was a notable difference in the research. There was a clinically meaningful change for these patients. So let's practice a couple of these things today. I tried to create some space for you. If you need to spread out your chairs a little bit more, please feel free to. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stand up together. I feel like we're going to need a little bit of room, so if you need to spread out, please do. Maybe we can pull these chairs up a little bit so everyone has some more space. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is practice what we all know as a jumping jack. Now, we have modifications. We don't have to jump if it's too challenging. We can do a modified jack. So you can step to the side and raise your arms out to the side as well. Ready? Go. Let's do 10 together. If this is easy for you, you can take it up a notch by doing a full jump. Jump. Just like so. And again, safety first. If you need to sit, please do. If you need room, please give yourself some room, spreading out. So once we've done 10, we can take a little break. So what is the purpose of a jumping jack? Why are we just randomly telling you to do this? The reason we like a jumping jack for Parkinson's disease is because it encourages large amplitude movements. And large amplitude movements are really good for generating power and strength. So the next exercise that we're going to try is a large amplitude box step. So what you're going to do is you're going to, this is why we need some room. So if you need to move your chairs back a little bit, the back row, push them back because there's no one behind you. So you're going to take a really wide step forward, wide step to the right, wide step back, and then go to your starting position. You're just creating a box. So forward, right, back, and then to your starting position. You're drawing a box on the ground with your feet to the right and then to the left. So give that a try if you're able to. And you can go switch directions as well and maybe see, is one way easier for you than the other? Good job. So stepping just like so. You got it. Yep. Just like that. So you're creating a box. You got it. Yep. There you go. Great work. So can you see how it's challenging your balance a little bit? Because you have to change directions. And if you want to make it more challenging, you can widen your steps. Make them nice and wide. Good. Thank you for participating with me. Oh! He's good. He's good. So again, if you need to have a seat, please have a seat. Safety first. But it was great. You caught yourself there, right? Practice. That's the thing, right? It's all about practicing in order for you to gain more confidence on your feet. But that was great. Thanks, guys. All right, let's go on to the second intervention. So the next intervention that this study looked at was resistance training. What is resistance training? It's essentially using any sort of resistance, weights, dumbbells, therabands, body weight, to build your strength and size of your muscles. What was the effectiveness of resistance training in the research? It showed that it can improve your gait. So again, we're talking about the walking pattern. So does anyone here have any challenges that they can share with walking?
I have long COVID and it certainly put my balance off. So that's why you just pull.
Okay.
Keeps me upright, keeps me straight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, long COVID has had a lot of different effects on people, hasn't it? So your balance can be affected if you have had long COVID or maybe if you have Parkinson's. Any other challenges people find with walking? Yes?
Same thing, I didn't even realize it is called gait, but I used to walk funny.
Yes.
One day I was in a shopping mall and my family doctor happened to be walking right behind me. And I was actually going to his office, and when I got there, when my turn came, he called me and he said, "At your age, you shouldn't be walking like that. There is something wrong. I'm going to send you to a neurologist."
Oh, really?
That's where my journey started.
That's how he found out. Okay. You have a very good doctor. Did everyone hear that? Okay, I'd love to share. May I share that? So this gentleman here in the front, Ashok, was saying that he was walking in the mall one day and his doctor was walking behind him because his doctor's office is in that building. So he was going to see his doctor, and his doctor noticed and said, I saw you walking earlier. You shouldn't be walking that way. I'd like to send you to a neurologist and we'll do some investigation. And that's how his journey began. So what a really perceptive and observant doctor you have to pick up on his gait differences. And that's exactly what happens, right? Our gait changes with different things that happen to us, whether it's Parkinson's, long COVID, age-related changes. You might have a shuffling gait. You might walk unsteady. So these are the things that were impacted. When we strengthen our muscles, whether it's through bands or weights, you can improve your gait. You can improve your balance and your speed. So let's practice a resistance exercise today. There are green bands on every other chair. The reason for that is because we are going to hold. I need you to partner up, okay? So maybe Mark can be my partner for a moment here. Or Stephanie will be my partner. So everyone, you're going to stand up, please, facing your partner. One person is going to hold the band like this with two hands. Wrap it around your wrist one time. And the other partner, Stephanie, is going to hold the band as resistance for me. Okay, is everyone set up? If you want, you can sit down and do it together as well. You can face one another sitting.
For a while, standing.
What if we move the chairs and you
You could face each other. Yeah. Ashok, maybe Ashok can partner with your mom, Steph? Can Ashok be partners with your mom, maybe? Okay. So you have a seat here, yeah. Okay. And you wrap this around your wrist. So you're going to...
Wait, Steph, why doesn't she just do it with mom? It's easier.
There you go. Okay. And there you go. Okay. All right.
I'll get a seat and we'll move this way. And then we're going to bring my mom over here. Let's do this way.
All right, so everyone standing up has got the band, yep, good, wrapped around. Okay, you are going to have your elbows bent to 90 degrees at your sides. I don't want to see any chicken wing arms. I want your elbows at your sides. And what you're going to be practicing now is rowing. So you're going to pull the band behind you like so, hold for 1, 2, 3, and bring it back. Now this is a great exercise for posture. It strengthens the muscles in between our shoulder blades, which are our postural muscles, which help keep us upright. So once you've done about 5 or 10 repetitions, you're going to switch and let your partner try. So I'm going to switch and let Stephanie try, because let Stephanie get her workout today too, right guys? Good. So I'd love to encourage you to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Good. Because the work is coming from the muscles between your shoulder blades. It's not just coming from your arms pulling back. And hold each repetition for 5 seconds if you can. When you hold a muscle contraction, it gives the muscle time to work. If we just go back and forth, nothing's actually happening. It's just a range of motion exercise. How's everyone doing? Is everyone taking turns, or is it a tug of war? Good. Oh, great question. Yes. Okay, we have a great question here. Somebody asked, what if you don't have a partner at home? How do you do this alone? Well, let me show you. You take this band and you tie it to a doorknob at home, and then you can do it on your own, okay? Or your banister of your railing or something like that. All right, well, have a seat and let's keep things moving along here. Everyone back to their spots. Okay, is everyone awake? Everyone's awake? Okay, so the next treatment that this research paper looked at was treadmill training. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to bring 16 treadmills in today, so we're just going to talk about this one. But the use of a treadmill in rehab has been shown to improve your gait. Again, we're talking about gait and walking pattern, because the treadmill acts as an external cue. It gives you an external cue on how to keep a regular rate and rhythm of walking. So it can help with your step length, your balance, your speed, your push off, and all of the little parts that we look at when we break down someone's walking pattern. Has anyone tried this? Oh, have you really? Amazing. It's really good, right? Yes, you can set the speed. Yep, you've got the safety clip on. Perfect. Yep. What about you?
There's a treadmill here in the building.
Perfect. Perfect. So it's great. It's a great way to kind of regulate your gait, your walking pattern and speed. Okay. So strategy training. Now this one is an interesting topic. So basically what this is we provide verbal cues to our patients who might have Parkinson's to break down complex motor tasks into more smaller steps. And when we break it down into smaller steps, it's easier to perform successfully. So we're going to practice this today with an example of sit to stand. So sit to stand is an exercise and an activity that all of us have to engage in every single day. But you might be surprised to know that I've noticed in my senior clients, it gets harder for them to get up out of a chair. So I often use strategy training to help them keep up that task of daily living. So basically we're going to break down the task of sit to stand. All of you get up from a chair. I bet you never thought you could break it down into steps, eh? So let's break it down. First things first, I'd like you to have your feet hip width apart approximately. So a good base of support is needed so that you don't lose your balance. Once your feet are about hip width apart. Make sure they're not too far forward in front of you or too far back, because you want to be able to have a good leverage to stand up. The second part of a sit to stand is coming to the edge of your seat. So please shift your hips forward so that you're sitting at the edge of your seat. Good. It's easier to stand up from a chair when you're at the edge of the seat versus when you're at the back of a seat, right? So we want to use physics, which was my least favorite subject, to help us with these activities, okay? So now we've got our feet hip width apart, not too far forward, not too far back. We are sitting at the edge. The next thing we want to do is we want to lean forward, nose over our toes. Think about that, okay? Can you believe all of these things go into just standing up from a chair? And then the last thing is, if you need to, we want to use our hands on the armrest to push up. But if you don't need to, I encourage you not to. And then we push up to stand safely. So that's an example of strategy training that we would use with somebody who needs help with an advanced motor task. And we would get them to break down the task in order for them to perform it successfully. Because when we break it down, we're able to see which part of the task is the actual problem for them or the barrier, and we can train that area. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Does anyone have any questions so far? Okay. Is everyone having a good time so far? Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, well, let's keep going. So the next thing we're going to look at is hydrotherapy. Again, I wasn't able to bring in a swimming pool today, but hydrotherapy is basically pool therapy. It's the use of exercises in form of rehabilitation when you're in a pool. And the evidence behind this was that it improves your balance. Now, how many of you have been in a swimming pool? Show of hands. Okay, good. So you know that when you get into a swimming pool, your balance can be affected, right? Because you have to kind of navigate the resistance of the water. So I love prescribing pool therapy for any of my clients, whether it's Parkinson's or not, because there are many benefits of it. Number one, we know it, as per the evidence, it improves your balance. Number two, water gives you natural resistance. So you are working on strengthening your muscles when you work in a pool. Number three, water is buoyant. It's got a principle of buoyancy. So because of that principle of buoyancy, when you get into the water, there's not as much pressure on your joints, on your knees, on your hips, on your back. So it's very comfortable. And so if you have pain while walking on land, you may not have that same pain when you're in the water. So multiple benefits with this type of therapy. Okay, dual task training. So what is dual task training? Simply put, it's when there's a primary task and a secondary task, and they are performed simultaneously. So this one, actually, the research did not find that it significantly improved any of the outcomes that were measured. So we're talking about gait, balance, quality of life, and motor symptoms. This was not effective. Now, that doesn't mean that, people might avoid fully using it, because every therapist is different. Some people will still use this therapy. But again, like I said, I like to practice according to the evidence. So it would not be my first choice of therapy to go to for someone with Parkinson's. Let's practice it though, because I have a fun task that we can do. So we're going to stand up together. And so what we're going to do is we're going to walk the talk. So the two tasks we're going to do simultaneously is we're going to walk while talking. Let's march on the spot, and while you're marching, I would like you to count backwards by 5 from 100. All right, so let's hear those numbers. 100, 95, 90, 85. You can march in your chair and count backwards from 100 by 5. 45, I hear 45.
Awesome. So how was that?
Terrible.
Was it terrible? It's hard, right? It's hard even if you don't have Parkinson's, is what I heard. Like, isn't that interesting how it challenges your system to do two things at once? It's kind of like this, right? That but rub your belly and tap the top of your head, like, right? So it's very interesting. So that's actually, even though the research shows it's not effective, it's still challenging. So there might be some value in it anyway. So it's fun to try different things like that and see, hey, maybe I'm good at walking and marching on the spot, but can I do it at the same time as talking? Another one is going up the stairs while carrying maybe a cup of water or something, right? That would be considered a dual task. Are you able to do that? Or come down the stairs holding maybe a basket of laundry. So these are functional day-to-day activities that I help my clients with that they want to be able to continue to do in their places where they live. Okay, so now here is my Nordic pole lady. I'm so excited that you've got the poles here today. So this was a kind of a big grouping of topics. They looked at dance, Nordic pole walking, balance and gait training, and martial arts. So what types of dance did they look at? They looked at waltz, foxtrot, American ballroom, tango. Again, they looked at Nordic pole walking. They looked at Tai Chi. So does everyone know what Tai Chi is? Okay. Does everyone know what Qigong is? Does anybody know what Qigong is?
Well, I can't give you definition, but I've heard a lot about it, so part of the Tai Chi thing or a break off of it.
Yes, yeah. Anybody else have any ideas on what it is? Okay.
You guys go to a class, actually.
Do you guys go to a class?
Tai Chi we do.
Oh, great. Awesome. Okay, so you know about so Qigong is similar, like this gentleman said here. It's a kind of an arm. It's related to kind of martial arts, but it has very good, we're going to practice it today, so you'll get to know what it is. It's got very good evidence behind its mindfulness and meditation and relaxation, so it's very restorative. So basically the evidence behind all of these groupings of exercises and interventions was that they can improve your motor symptoms. So again, our rigidity, tremors, dyskinesia, dystonia, can improve balance and gait. So these exercises had 3 outcomes that had a positive impact. So if you have Parkinson's, it's probably wise to participate in one of these things because you're going to get the best bang for your buck. Check, check, check. Versus some of the other things we've talked about this morning, they only check one box. They only help gait or they only help balance, right? So let's practice some Qigong together. We're going to stand up. And you'll need a little bit of room, so if you want to spread out, but make sure you have a chair behind you for safety always. We'll bring this behind you so you've got it there. Okay. So the first Qigong exercise that we're going to do is called swinging arms. And the whole purpose of Qigong too is to keep grounded. It helps with, that mindfulness and relaxation that I was talking about. So make sure you've got a good stance, not too far apart and not too close. If your feet are too close, you're going to lose balance. So we want about hip width. And basically you're going to swing your arms to start. And this again, if we think back to the beginning of the presentation, we talked about large amplitude movements. And why are they good for Parkinson's? Well, they help generate power. So this is not only good because it's a large amplitude movement, it's also rhythmic. It's encouraging a bit of rotation through our trunk, which we lose over time when you have Parkinson's. Now, let's go wider
Let's make our arm swings wider, but keep your feet grounded. And if you can, rotate and look in the direction that your arms are going. So now you're challenging your balance even more. Beautiful. Good job. All right. So the next one we're going to try, and I see some people inhaling and exhaling, so that's great. Let's breathe throughout our exercises. Sometimes we forget to do that, eh? So nice big inhale and exhale. Okay, so the next one is playing with water. So essentially imagine that we're in a swimming pool and you are going to lift the water and push it up. Lift the water and push it up. And this is nice because you're doing a wide sort of squat. And again, it's that large amplitude, rhythmic movement. Just keep the chair behind you for safety. And again, and we'll do 10 of these together. Qigong is like repetitive movements, focusing on relaxing your mind and your body. Pretend you're lifting the water and throwing it away. Lift, scoop the water, and throw it up. Good job. How does that feel? How does it feel? Good? Is it challenging? Not so much, right? It's different compared to the walking and talking. Okay, have a seat. Great. Okay, so the next intervention that was studied was exergaming. Exergaming is essentially like virtual video games. So sometimes in hospitals and senior homes, they have like a virtual screen and a bicycle that is in front of the screen, and it's as if you're racing. So that would be an example of exergaming, or more commonly known, Nintendo Wii. That gaming system had a lot of active exercise games, so that would be an example of exergaming. So what was the effectiveness of exergaming in Parkinson's? Well, exergaming improved balance and quality of life. So it improved 2 outcomes. So I guess the quality of life piece was probably because it was really fun, and it didn't feel like exercise or rehab. So I don't have an exergaming system, but we can practice this together by pretending that we have a system in front of us, and you are essentially going to practice some air boxing. So let's stand up together again.
We could play darts right behind you there.
Oh yeah, or we could play darts, but I'm tentative to do that. Okay, so with this one, we're gonna have our fists up in front of you, and you're basically punching in front of you, alternating right and left, and you are going to try and go a little faster. Can you punch faster? To make it more dynamic and challenging. Now to make it a little different, you're going to twist further, twist to the right and to the left. And this is really good because, again, we talked about how in Parkinson's, you can lose trunk rotation. But when you do this boxing, you're able to work on maintaining the thoracic spine rotation. And you might feel that in your upper back. How does that feel? Looks good, guys. You can do it in your seat as well. You can do it while sitting. So you can do it sitting or standing. Awesome. All right, everyone's doing okay? Great. Okay, so now let's summarize. So we talked about a lot of different things today, and it's hard to remember what the effectiveness of everything was. So the first thing, I wanted to go in order of like least effective to most effective. So least effective in the literature for physiotherapy interventions for Parkinson's was the dual task training. So that was the walking and talking or carrying a cup of water up the stairs, okay? It did not have any impact on any of these measured outcomes: gait, walking pattern, balance, motor symptoms, or quality of life. Now, both treadmill training
and resistance training. So that was where we did the TheraBand rowing, so some strength exercises. Those were both beneficial when it came to gait or walking. So if your primary symptom of Parkinson's is difficulty walking, whether it's slowed walking, altered gait pattern, shuffling, imbalance, maybe your go-tos would be to use the treadmill or to use resistance strength training, okay? Now, hydrotherapy was the pool therapy that improved balance. So if your primary deficit is balance related, maybe you think and consider going to a local pool or aquatic pool program. Exergaming was the virtual system. We just practiced it with the boxing. If you have difficulties with your balance, again, another good go-to option, and it also impacts your quality of life. So perhaps if you're feeling some psychosocial sadness, feeling loneliness, it might help you as well, improving your mood and quality of life. And finally, we're looking at dance, Nordic pole walking, balance and gait training, and martial arts. So this was a big success because this improved 3 of the measured outcomes: gait, walking pattern, balance, and motor symptoms. So rigidity, slowness, bradykinesia, dyskinesia, dystonia, any of those things, if you're experiencing them, you can try one of these and it should have a good benefit for you. And finally, I'm very happy with this because I'm a physiotherapist. Conventional physiotherapy was effective for 3 of the outcomes. So gait, walking pattern, motor symptoms, and quality of life. But it has a little asterisk beside it. And why is that? So if we remember from the beginning of the presentation, I talked about clinical significant change. This was the only thing that had a clinically significant change for people, meaning they noticed a difference. It was a meaningful difference in their life, and that was also measured in the research. So it wasn't just like, oh, I'm not able to walk 5 meters, and then you do some of the, maybe you practice treadmill training and you're able to walk 10 meters. No, it was, I'm now able to walk in my community, go to the grocery store, come back home. So it was a clinically meaningful difference for these people if they engaged in conventional physio. Any questions? Yes. Oh, yes. Good. I'm glad I asked.
Why is that with the conventional physio?
Great question. I think the reason is because you can make a specific program for each client based on their needs, whether it is motor symptoms or balance or gait, and you can design it versus maybe some of the other things are more general, like exergaming. We can't specifically design it for you. You just have to follow what the game tells you.
Okay, so when I'm in Streetsville, your practice is in Streetsville, your clinic, I guess, and is that right?
It used to be, I now do mobile services, so I go to people's homes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then you would focus on one specific thing that people are having trouble with? Is that what it?
Yeah, that's
or is
actually,
there a general thing that you would?
thanks for asking that actually. So essentially, as a physiotherapist, what we would do is we would come on the first day and perform an assessment. So we would ask you a bunch of questions like, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. What are your medical conditions? What are your goals? What do you want to work on? Take your medical history, all of those things. Then we would do an objective assessment and we would assess you and look at how do you walk? How do you go up and down stairs? We would test your muscle strength. We would test your balance and say, hey, can you stand on one leg and can you close your eyes? And we'd count and we'd add the time. And there's all these standardized tests that we might put you through. After we've done the assessment, we would say, hey, these are our findings. This is what shows you might benefit from by working on this. Does that align with what you want to work on and your goals? And we would design a treatment plan for you. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
How many times a day or a week do you have to do these to feel some benefit?
It's a really great question too.
So for each of the different interventions, I don't know the specifics because I didn't like write down all of the specifics, but from a general standpoint, when prescribing for a client, we say in order to maintain muscle strength, for example, you need to exercise with resistance or strength training 2 times a week minimum. So using bands or weights or dumbbells. If you want to increase muscle strength, you need 3 times a week minimum, right? Even a healthy, young, I don't know, 30-year-old who goes to the gym, they don't just go once a week. They usually go 3-4 times a week to build muscle, right? And I was going to say that, typically we look at, okay, let's give you a program for 4 to 6 weeks and then reassess you at the end of that period to see, has there been any change in your strength, your balance, the things we measured on day 1 when we did the assessment? Because we want to be objective. We want to see, are we making a difference or not? And then we can reassess, we can progress you, we can modify, we could decrease the frequency of treatment at that time. Does that make sense?
Yes, and is there a minimum, maximum amount of time that you have to spend, say, doing the TheraBands, like 10 minutes is enough, 20 minutes is enough?
Yeah, I wouldn't put a time period on it. I would prescribe you with the parameters of each exercise. So for example, today we did the rowing. I would say to you, what's your name?
Heather?
Heather, I would love for you to do this exercise, the rowing, 2 sets of 10 reps, 4 days a week for the next 6 weeks. Then we will reassess. So that's like how we would write your treatment plan, like specifically write down, and I would email you your plan so you know what you're working on. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Was cycling done in any of these studies, or stationary?
Stationary? No, it wasn't done. It wasn't looked at. But it was looked at, I guess, in exergaming, but not as a standalone. So that's the other thing to answer your question. You asked me, why was conventional physio the most effective? I think it's because, and also conventional physio can combine remember we said it was multifaceted. So it can combine stationary cycling with resistance training, with balance training. So that's probably why it was effective too, because it's giving you a holistic program and it's working on many different areas of your body at the same time. Any other questions? Okay, great. So this might help because this is a case study of one of my real patients. Maybe this will solidify everything and kind of answer the questions that you were asking me. So Mrs. LB, she's a 65-year-old female who came to me a year and a half ago. She was going to a clinic in the neighborhood for neurophysiotherapy. They specialized in neurological conditions, but her problem was she needed help getting around her community. She didn't have the confidence or the ability to walk around in her neighborhood, to go meet her friends, go for coffee. And she was using a rollator walker due to her neurological condition, the Parkinson's, and she wasn't using that before. She also downsized from a home and moved to a condo with an elevator to be able to accommodate her needs. So her goals were to improve her balance and to rely less on her walker and be able to be outside in her neighborhood, community ambulation, okay? So I started seeing her for the mobile physiotherapy that I do. So I would meet her at her home and we would do, all of our sessions are 60-minute visits. And I've been working with her for a year and a half. We started 2 times a week physio. So to give you numbers, what does this look like? We started 2 times a week. Then as she progressed, we decreased to once a week. Then as she progressed, once every 2 weeks. And now I'm seeing her once a month. I've been seeing her once a month for the last, 6 to 8 months, okay? So what did her program look like? Well, she said, my goal is to walk independently in the neighborhood. So then I said, I gotta help her with this. So we started walking in her neighborhood together, and she would have her walker and I would be beside her and we would practice crossing the street. because that was a really big one for her. She lives at Kipling, and you guys know Kipling subway station, Kipling and Dundas. So it's a busy intersection there with all the buses and all the sounds. And so she was very nervous and scared to cross the street. So we practiced crossing the street together. Then over time, I would let her cross the street and I would wait and I would watch her, and so on and so forth, and we would progress. Then over time, I now walk with her walker and she walks beside me. So we walk in the neighborhood for an hour, and we walk by the lake, we walk from Dundas and Kipling to Cloverdale Mall, and I'm holding her walker and she's walking beside me. So in a year and a half, she has achieved her goal. She no longer needs to use her walker. And she has traveled, she is present right now on a trip. She's on a cruise, so she's on a plane. She wanted to be able to travel. And also, she has more confidence, and her gait, when we talked about gait pattern and speed, has improved immensely. She just did 6,400 steps with me in 60 minutes a couple of weeks ago. And that was without the walker. I was holding it, she was beside me. She did sit twice in that 60-minute period. She sat for about a minute to rest. So those were the improvements. Sorry, I missed a couple of things in her program. So we did the outdoor walking. We did outdoor walking drills as well. So I would get her to, we'd be beside a park bench, for example, for safety, and then we'd stand up and she'd start to maybe do some marching, and then she would do some sidestepping, she would do some backwards walking, and we did all of this outdoors. We took the subway together. She wanted to practice, okay, can I navigate the Kipling subway station and get up this hill and go into the building and we did that. And I also prescribed her a hydrotherapy program, so a pool program, because her condo had a pool. So one day we met at her pool and I designed a program for her in her swimming pool, and then she does that on her own. She doesn't need me for that. And then the final piece of her program was a resistance or strength training and balance program that she can do in her condo gym. So 1 or 2 times we've met in her condo gym, and I've told her, these are the things I'd like you to do. I'd like you to do 10 reps of this machine, and I wrote it down for her, and she does that on her own because she has access to it. So I think, again, to your point, it's a multifaceted program with physiotherapy addressing different things, so, her results show for that. Any questions about that?
What are the benefits of Tai Chi for Parkinson's?
I would say relaxation of the muscles. Large amplitude movements are really good, again, as we talked about, for power output. Good for balance as well. Anything else about this? Okay. Does that kind of give you a better idea to answer your questions on frequency or assessment and that type of thing? Okay, great. Awesome. Well, that is...
Sorry, just thought of something. Do you find using the Nordic poles are better for arm swinging, and when you don't use the poles and you find your arms are moving?
Would you like to comment
Yes,
on
because
that?
it's pretty much a whole body movement.
Right.
Once they just give you the idea how to use them,
Yeah.
your whole upper body keeps you upright, keeps you straight, keeps you balanced. I've had these for 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
I love them. They come apart, they're light, you
I
get them
do have
online.
I have a pair,
put them
and I
online.
use them for hiking and the
Absolutely.
Bruce Trail up, and I find it really helpful for getting up rocks and over roots and stuff like that, but I find when I'm walking down the street, my arms don't swing unless I'm telling them to start swinging, and I have to push it, but then my mind drifts and everything stops again, so.
Yes, that's so true. Our natural gait pattern, our normal gait pattern, involves an arm swing. But over time, we lose that. And sometimes, that can have a negative impact on our balance when we are walking. So the Nordic poles definitely will encourage the arm swing. Yeah. Okay, so this is the paper that I was referencing today for the presentation. If you'd like to have a closer look at any of the interventions, I'm happy to share that with you as well. And that's the end of my presentation, so I will take any questions at this time.